What's going on, guys? Knoxville363, January 24th, 2012. I have here the LG Marquee from Boost Mobile. A lot of people are anticipating this phone coming out. Android 2.3 with a 4-inch screen, 5 megapixel camera, with a 2 megapixel camera on the front. So I figured I would do a review for you because I'm getting rid of my ZTE Warp and switching on over. So let's open this up. Alright, so now we have it open. First, what you get inside your box is obviously your 2 gigabyte SD card, along with your micro USB charger, rather on the large side this time. I don't know why LG went with that, but and then your manual. First things first, let's go over what the phone looks like. I am very impressed with the actual design of it. It's so lightweight. I thought the Warp was lightweight. The LG phone just, I wouldn't say it makes the Warp look heavy, but the overall design of it is just so much nicer than the Warp presentation, even though once you put a case on it, obviously it doesn't really make that big of a difference. The one thing that Boost Mobile did do was on the Sprint version of this phone, it had a design back of it which was very fingerprint friendly, I guess you could say. This is a matte finish, and I've been touching it to see if it would leave any fingerprints. It does not leave any, so very impressed with the backing. Nice LG logo on the back with your 5 megapixel camera with LED flash on the back. On the left hand side we have our dedicated volume rocker with our action button, which you can set, I believe, to anything you want it to. However, obviously most people would use it as your camera button. On the top you have your 3.5 millimeter head jack with your USB charger, which obviously I like that it was done on the top this time as opposed to the bottom or the side, and your power sleep button. Now what's nice about the charging port is that they did not get rid of that feature. You can close it up, so therefore no dust or grime or anything else can get on the inside of your phone. Nice feature. I really am glad that Boost Mobile decided to keep that. And on your right side it's completely blank. There's absolutely nothing on this side, and on the bottom is just your microphone, and that is it. So, oh, and there is your speaker on the back, and that is just the appearance of the phone in itself. Once again, I'm really happy with Boost Mobile for making this phone. It's really nice, and I'm glad they kept a lot of the features from the Sprint version. Alright, now I did change the background of the phone. Now it is on the absolute brightest setting. This is your Nova display, and it is just simply, quite put, amazing. At first I was like, you know, the display really isn't that big of an issue with me. I thought that they did a great job on the Warp. However, it's just so much finer. The colors are more vivid, and it's a lot more detailed, which was obviously a standpoint with this phone that it has the Nova display as opposed to all the other Android phones that Boost Mobile currently offers. When we go through our app drawer, there's really nothing basic that they added to this phone that they excluded from others. Once again, really smooth. If we go through our settings, about phone, scrolling through menus, that's pointless. It is currently on Android 2.3.4, and let's run through this really quick. So once again, there's really not much to offer as far as what comes stock on the phone, which I really like because most of the stuff that comes stock on the phones no one really uses. Big standpoint on this phone is the camera. Alright, so here is the camera on the phone. Gives you your basic options from gingerbread. On this particular device, that separates it from the Warp is obviously that it has a 2 megapixel camera on the front. And here is your zoom feature, which if you watched my review on the Replenish, I stated how I like this feature that was not on the Warp, that you actually had to use the volume rocker. Gives you your flash if you want to change what the light settings is in your particular area where you're going to be taking the picture, the location, and your basic settings, which I'm not going to go over. So that is the rear camera. Let's look at the front. So now, as you can tell, it is a 2 megapixel camera on the front of the camera. It is not the greatest. This is the camera that you will be looking through for your Skype Tango and your video conference calling. I guess that's what you would want to call it. If we go back and forth with it, you see that it does lag just ever so slightly. However, if I did have to pinpoint out one bad thing about the phone, it would be the front camera. It is not VGA, which obviously is a plus. However, overall, it is kind of grainy. The colors are kind of faded out, as opposed to when you're looking through the rear. Now, one thing I will say about this camera as opposed to the Warp is it's less watered down. It doesn't give you that ripple effect when you're switching back and forth. And I will make sure that I post videos taken from the phone as well as video. So overall, I am very impressed with the camera. Now, which this did not come with the Warp, is your video length recording, okay, whether you want to do for video mail or for long video. If we switch over to long, if I tap on long video, now one thing I will say is that it kind of gives it like a shrunken type look. That's the best way I could describe it. However, it is very clear, very nice. Now obviously I've only had this phone for about 5 minutes, so I didn't get to run through every single little bit of information. But I have not found a way to record video using the LED light, which obviously is a downfall. I was upset about that with the Warp, and apparently I'm going to have the same complaint with the Marquee. Now, some other neat things I want to point out about the phone is when you simply press on these keys, whatever button you press on, if you look at it, it'll light up blue. Which, I mean, obviously it's not that big of an issue, but I thought it was a cool feature that they incorporate. Now, as far as the action button on the left-hand side of your phone, you will see a quick launch key in your menu and through your settings. Now, it's automatically set to camera as your default. However, you can select whichever action you want it to take when you press the button. I would just leave it on camera, just because a lot of people obviously use their phones as cameras. So, I mean, unless you like your internet or something else actioned by a button, which obviously I would just personally leave it at camera, because to hit anything else, it's just simply a lot easier to tap on the screen. But that's just my own personal preference. I thought that I would point that out on this phone. Now, contrary to what people believe, the internal storage on the phone is 3 gigabytes. I was under the impression it was less as well, but it is 2.79, so therefore that means that it has 3 gigabytes of internal storage. Another big thing that I liked about the phone is the vibrate feature. It is a lot stronger. I mean, obviously you guys can't hear it or feel it, but compared to the Warp and the Prevail, it is so much stronger. So therefore, when you have this phone in your pocket, you will be able to feel when somebody's calling or texting, because I always set my phone to vibrate as opposed to having it go off, just because it's less annoying if you have it on vibrate and it's in your pocket, easily detected. Now, they did add more wallpapers. Now you have a choice for LG wallpapers, and I think they did this just to show off the Nova display. Just run through these really quick. Just absolutely amazing. I really thought that it was going to be a tough competitor with the Warp, due to the fact that they pretty much have the same specs, which they pretty much do. And if you do have the ZTE Warp, do I think it's actually worth the $80? I will voice my opinion in a different video after I use the phone for a while, but I mean, I am very, very impressed with this, and I didn't really think that I was going to be, and it pretty much gives you the same exact live wallpapers as all the other Android phones. So there's nothing different as far as that goes. See if they changed up Nexus. Oh, the Nexus wallpaper is a little bit different than it was before. Let me click and drag this out. Yeah, so the Nexus is changed up a little bit. They changed the background, but I mean it's pretty much all the same concept. Alright, so to wrap this up, I looked at a movie and I played some music really quick, and let me tell you, the speaker volume on this is a lot greater than expected. Don't expect the best sound out of it, however, it's a lot better than ZTE Warp. You don't need any applications to boost it up or help increase the volume. While I was watching movies on it, very nice. I watched some high definition copies, and I was just very impressed. Overall, just a very basic look at the phone, just going through it really briefly for about the 5-10 minutes that I've gone through it. If I had to rate this phone on a scale of 1 to 10, I know I said the Replenish was about a 5 or a 6. I'd have to rate this up along with the ZTE Warp at about an 8, or I'm not going to say it's a perfect phone. I'm going to go with probably about an 8 or a 9. Would I say it's a lot better than ZTE Warp? I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to go as far as to say that it just stomps the ZTE Warp out of the ground. However, it may be a tad bit higher. Like I said, it's going to take me a little bit because I want to go through the phone and use it for at least a week before I can make that kind of opinion on it. Right now, the features that this phone does have that the Warp does not have really impressed me. But everyone's different. Do I think that it's worth the extra $80? $80 is a lot of money for the features that I do like on this. However, everyone's different. So thank you guys a lot for watching. I know you guys waited a long time for this video, so make sure you guys stay subscribed for future reviews and giveaways.